Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Halloween edition of Fun Classic Reads. Every month, we perform a live read from a classic or a modern book to bring you a combination of lighthearted laughs and literature. I am Christie Spooktacular Stratos, historical suspense and historical fantasy author, and my co-host is sci-fi author David Crypt Kicker Kelly. Welcome. We're so glad to have you. We have names for everybody, and we didn't share them ahead of time, so all our guests have special names. So tonight we are going to be doing, as I said, a Halloween edition. We're going to be reading a brand new, just written piece, Humorous, based on Dracula by our very own Crypt Kicker Kelly, and it's called Dracula Vamped Out. So we can talk a little bit more about that, but first let's introduce everyone here. We're really excited to have our guests tonight. They're going to help us put on a version of Dracula. So let's get started with introducing everybody. We have Jane here too. Hello, Jane.
Hello.
We'll give you a minute to catch up, but
yeah, computer issues.
So what we're going to do basically is just go. Oh, I know.
Part
I'm
of the
having
fun.
internet issues. You know, I have. Yeah, exactly. It is part of the fun. It's the liveness of it all.
That's right.
So what we're going to start out doing is we're just going to go around and each person is going to introduce themselves and then, you know, briefly, and then we're going to go around and give everybody a chance to tell you what they are up to. So we'll start with Jody Swannell. Introduce yourself, Jody.
Hi, guys. I'm happy to be here. A little bit nervous, but excited at the same time. I have a special place in my heart for Dracula. I love spooky things. I write contemporary fiction in the horror and magic occultism, a little bit of sci-fi. This weekend, I'm going to Frightmare in the Falls with a couple of my books. And so that's like a 3-day kind of Comic-Con for horror movies. So this is right up my alley. Yeah, I'm in Ontario. I don't know what else. That's pretty much it.
Great. That's fantastic. So next we are on to, Next we are on to David Murderous North-Martino.
Oh, Murderous.
I got to give credit to Dave for the amazing name.
Yeah, I like that. That's great. Yeah, I'm Dave North-Martino. I write horror, science fiction, fantasy, thriller. A lot of times I combine all that together. And I also do a radio show and podcast called The House of Mystery as a co-host. And that's basically me.
Oh dear, we've lost Christie again.
she's disappeared.
Christie's got
Dracula is gone.
We should just say Christie's been having a few problems with her internet connection, so she might be in and out a little bit. She's back. She turned into a bat and then turned back.
Yes.
It's a struggle, but hopefully we'll make it. Anyway. All right, Dave.
That's okay.
Okay. Did you finish
up?
Yes.
Dave?
I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Okay.
No, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay. Next will be Jane E. Terrifying Taylor.
Hello. My name is my author name is J.E. Taylor. I write paranormal, suspense, fantasy, romance, a little bit of horror. I'm all over the map, basically. And I also have a show on Saturday nights called Spilling Ink. So I know Christie's been on that before. And I'm just here back from the Carolinas.
Perfect. Yeah, you do it like you share your traveling too
Yes.
online. You do share some of those pictures, and it's always like these beautiful, relaxing areas. It's always so
Thank
nice.
you.
And last but not least, we had Kathleen Petrifying Palm.
Yeah. Hi, Kathleen Palm. I write horror, short stories, and I write horror for kids. So if you know any kids who like creepy, I have a trilogy, the Nowhere series, coming out from Undertaker Books next year in 2026. And I have another middle grade horror coming out from Water Tower Hill Publishing in 2026. So, and my most recent short story was on Shortwave magazine called The Chair in the Basement, which if you like a little twist on possession stories, you can always go find that Shortwave. But yeah, just me and this creepy stuff. That's my favorite.
Perfect. How about you, David? You want to introduce yourself? David Kelly, Crypt Kicker.
Oh, there we go.
I'm David M. Kelly. I write science fiction, which is based usually on plausible science, although not always. I sometimes let my hair down, as you can see. I'm working on the first book of a new series. I'm about 95,000 words into the first draft at the moment. It's being torturous, but it's progressing. Other than that, there's not a lot of news from me, but one good thing that I have had just in the last few weeks is that 2 local bookstores in my area have now actually agreed and taken my books to sell to the public, which is very nice. So thank you very much to They Used Books. The books they're selling, mine aren't used, by the way. And another store called Joyful Home, which does wonderful candles and aromatherapy things and what have you. They're selling them as well. So thank you to both of those for supporting local authors. How about yourself, Christie?
Thank you. I'm Christie Stratos. I write historical fantasy and historical suspense, both in the Victorian era and in the US. So it's a little bit different. So I've been on a little bit of a hiatus for a little while, but I really love, writing both of those things, and I will be getting back to it very shortly. And otherwise, I'm an editor. You can see my website at proofpositivepro.com. So you can check me out there. And I love doing fun classic reads. Obviously, this is a great time. So these are the main things that I do. And I think that's pretty much me in a nutshell. Did any of it come through? Let's hope so.
Yes,
yep,
it all came
through.
Oh, goody. Cool. Okay, so you know what? I know some of us already gave our news on what's coming up. So who has like news that they want to share, or like a publication coming up or an event coming up? And let's do it that way, because I think David already told us David Kelly already told us what's up with him. So who has something to share that is upcoming? You can just, so I can see you. Jane.
I do. I've got a Kickstarter, which is going to be an omnibus of Wolf Moon and Hunter's Moon, which isn't released yet, and it won't be released outside of the Kickstarter until after everybody through that gets it. So, but that's coming up in November-ish. I think I'm waiting until November 15th. I was going to do it in October, but with the landscape of the the U.S. elections coming up, and everybody's a little cautious with their pocket right now. So the advisement was to do it in November.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. David North-Martino, I saw you raise your hand.
Well, this is kind of a tease, but I do have a book
coming
out.
Like teasers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do like teasers.
I have a horror action thriller coming out probably early next year.
Nice.
But I can't talk too much about it. It's going to be with the publisher, but I can't announce it yet. And I also have a fantasy book, a fantasy Kindle Vella actually, Blade of the Vagabond, which is almost complete, but it's there. And the first 10 episodes are available for free to read.
Nice.
So that is available too.
Awesome. Okay. Did anybody else have anything that you wanted to say is coming up for you? Good to go. All right. So if that is the case, then we'll get started with our live read. When Dave is done dancing, we'll give him the chance. You know, he's a good dancer. So I have a quick change to make. So I will be right back in just a moment.
Okay.
It won't take me too long.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I didn't.
Okay.
Yes.
Here's my Van Helsing pipe.
Ah. Did you borrow that from Christie? Because she had one when she was playing home.
I figured Van Helsing would have a pipe.
I would imagine so, yes.
He's a professor.
Sure.
He is a professor.
Yes. I would think he would have that. Unfortunately, I didn't have any garb because I've been trying to get my computer working. Ooh, look at the vampire. I like that.
I'm already scared.
I'm Dracula. I've become Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for waiting for me.
No problem. Do we just jump in?
Okay. Well, if Christie's changing, I better change as well.
It's a big change.
I like the hat.
Nice. So once again, this is a short story that our own David M. Kelly wrote just for us. So so with that, if you have anything you want to say, David, go ahead. And if not, then we are ready to start.
I'll just say a couple of things. Christie is very, very generous in crediting me with this story, but in actual fact, it was something that both me and Christie brainstormed quite a bit one night when we first started talking about it. I think we were both drunk, probably. But anyway, we brainstormed it together, and I just basically kind of like documented the fact after. So it's a joint writing credit, I think, on this one.
Okay.
All right.
So if you'd like to take us away, Jane?
Yes, I would. It is late at night as a carriage arrives at the grim, half-ruined castle Dracula, isolated in the bleak Carpathian mountains of Transylvania. A man clambers out of the carriage and stumbles toward the castle door. He enters and is directed to a well-lit room by a manservant. The room is lit by flickering torches over a roaring fire, while a large oak table dominates the center of the room, and it's already set with dishes of food, drink, and expensive tableware.
If you care to be seated, sir, the master will be with you shortly.
The master?
Renfield eyes a bottle of wine on the table and licks his lips.
Do you care for some wine, sir?
That would be impudent. I'll wait until the count arrives.
Very well, sir. Perhaps I should sample it myself. Some of these wines lose their luster when they have aged so long.
The bottle certainly looks old. Has the count a very fine collection of wines, then?
Not as good as in days past, sir. It has suffered greatly from evaporation recently.
Is that why I was invited? I presumed it was for my legal knowledge, although I could put the Count in touch with several reputable wine merchants for a modest fee.
Renfield picks up the wine and a glass, smacking his lips.
Perhaps just a small...
Renfield, see to our guests' bags. Welcome to Castle Dracula, Mr. Harker.
Yes, master.
Renfield takes the bags away, muttering.
Count, Forgive me for arriving at such an ungodly hour. It's well past midnight, I'm sure.
It is of no consequence. I am often about at this time. Please sit. You must be hungry after such a long journey.
Dracula pours a glass of wine for Harker as he scoops food onto his plate.
Thank you. Will you not join me?
I have already dined, and I do not drink, wine that is.
Harker gestures at the dishes.
This is amazing. I've never eaten from gold tableware. It must be worth a fortune.
Like the castle, it has been in my family for generations.
Harker holds up a plate, admiring it.
It's so well polished I can see my reflection in it. That's strange.
Dracula quickly steps aside.
Is something wrong?
Your reflection in the plate was missing, though you were standing beside me.
The lighting in this room is deceiving, Mr. Harker. Please enjoy your meal.
Harker begins to eat.
This is delicious.
The haunting sound of wolves howling in the distance fills the room.
Wolves? They sound close.
Ah, the music of nature. People from the city have no appreciation for such, I think.
Very true, Count, but you intend on becoming a city dweller too, no?
Indeed. As much as I am fond of my homeland, I feel a restless urge to seek out new experiences and fresh blood, you might say. I am tired of the old ways, hemmed in by the past. It is time to experience the joie de vivre of a new century.
And how may I be of service in this?
I wish to open a special restaurant in your city of London. You have many contacts there. You will make all the preparations for me. Find the right premises, arrange for any modifications and licenses, and also my journey to England.
A restaurant? That's a lot of work, Count. I'm not sure I...
Save your modesty, Mr. Harker. I am convinced you are the man for the job, and I pay handsomely.
Dracula empties a bag of gold coins onto the table.
A job like that would take time.
This is merely a down payment, of course. I expect I will need your services for at least a month, possibly two.
Harker stabs his knife into some meat.
A month or two? Ah!
What's the matter?
I'm so clumsy.
Your
My finger.
Your finger, it bleeds.
Harker pulls back, wrapping his finger with a handkerchief.
'Tis but a scratch.
Even a small cut can be dangerous.
I only expected to stay a day or two.
You will stay as long as I need you.
Very well. I'd better write to my wife and inform her my visit will be extended.
Good. Would there be any premises where I could live on site? I dislike commuting.
I'm not sure. I expected our transactions would be more of a financial nature. However, I have been investigating premises for another client recently. I'm sure we'll find something which will meet your needs. But Count, you will face stiff competition. There are many, many restaurants in London already.
Not like this one.
Indeed. What would be special about yours, if I may be so bold as to ask?
Well, it is no secret between business acquaintances. I am planning to open a vegan restaurant.
Vegan? Is that one of those small European kingdoms?
No, Mr. Harker, it means the dishes served shall be made with only plant-based foods. No meat, no dairy, no fish. Only the finest vegetables, pulses, and exotic spices.
Ha! Why, that sounds impossible. It must be like eating sawdust. Who would want such a thing?
Many.
Oh dear. Many will, once they taste its natural goodness, you will see. You're serious? No beef or chicken? A nice side of pork? Or a succulent mature turkey? Have you had this affliction long, Count?
I grow tired of the old ways. When you have lived as long as I, even the most delightful pleasures tend to fade.
Talking of that, I heard many strange stories on my way here. People say the country is bewitched and that the undead walk the forests at night, looking for helpless travelers. Werewolves, goblins, and witchcraft rule the lands.
My dear Harker, these are stories meant to frighten children and old women. Surely you lend no weight to such fairy tales?
A wolf howls again in the distance.
Well, no, of course not. Your family has been here for a long time now.
Hundreds of years. Believe me, if such creatures were in the area, I would know of it with surety.
A flash of lightning illuminates from outside as Renfield returns.
Mr. Harker's quarters already. Also, it's close to dawn, Master.
Indeed. I fear a storm is coming, Mr. Harker. I hope I won't interfere with your rest or invade your dreams. Farewell. Renfield, show our guests first, then take care of the refreshments.
Renfield looks at the remaining wine and licks his lips.
Oh, yes, Master. I will.
Dracula disappears as another flash of lightning occurs. Renfield picks up a bottle from the table and gazes at it.
I shall return, my tasty temptress.
Renfield spots a cockroach on the table and slams his hand down on it, catching the insect in his hand, then holding it up to drop it in his mouth and chewing on it.
Vegan my ass.
Renfield turns to Harker, who's staring at him with a look of horror.
This way, sir.
Chapter 2. Several weeks later, inside a well-furnished Victorian residence on the outskirts of London, Mina Harker is sitting at a writing desk opening letters when Jonathan Harker enters looking disheveled.
Oh, Mina, my beloved, I'm finally home once more. What a trial it has been being so far from you.
Oh, there you are, Jonathan. I'd quite forgotten you were gone.
You tease me so, Mina. May I kiss you, my darling?
Harker attempts to embrace Mina, but she twists away.
Not in broad daylight. Whatever would people say?
But, darling.
Mina
And what about,
points to Harker's face.
and what about the,
The lip? Oh, it's cleared up nicely, dear. Look, you can barely even see it.
Mina takes Harker's hands and guides him to the sofa, then sits at the opposite end.
Never mind all that. You must have had some awfully interesting experiences while you were away. Travel must be so thrilling.
I saw little, I'm afraid. The Count was a very determined host and kept me fully occupied with arranging his affairs.
Oh, does he have many?
Sorry, my dear?
Does he have many affairs?
You are such a naughty minx, Mina. Let's go upstairs. We could, you know.
Why, Mr. Harker, the sun has not yet set.
We could draw the curtains.
Mina scowls and points to his lower body.
Well, what about the,
The rash, it's all gone. All gone. Dr. Jekyll said everything should be fine now.
We probably shouldn't rush it, though, surely. Now tell me about this mysterious Count Dracula. Is he frightfully imperial?
Oh, I suppose so. A very impressive individual, though a touch odd with some of his conventions.
Handsome?
I suppose some may think so, in that brooding Slavic way, you know.
How romantic. A real count, and coming to stay here in England. You really must introduce me at the earliest opportunity.
I'm not sure that would be a good idea. Besides, we have our own glorious nobility. Nothing can compare with Her Majesty.
Pooh, they're all such terribly stuffed shirts. Not even so much as a hint of passion about them, but a rich, handsome, and mysterious count from the old families of Europe. Now he's a real catch.
Mina, you are my wife.
Oh, of course, dear. I meant he'd be a real catch for some other lucky girl, of course. So what brings him here?
That's the thing, Mina. I wanted to tell you in my letter, but I dare not. A delicate thing like you may have died from shock.
Your letter. Oh, yes, I haven't opened it.
You haven't? But
I wanted to keep it intact, dear. Knowing your sweet words were locked inside gave me such comfort.
Oh.
Well, you're here now, so tell me, what venture brings the Count to us?
Well, I hate to say this, but...
Go on, dear.
Well, he's planning to open a restaurant.
Open what? Jonathan, speak up, dear.
He's planning to open a restaurant.
Now, don't be silly, dear. Why on earth would he want to open a restaurant here? London already has so many.
He says he is weary of his life in Transylvania and seeks a more cosmopolitan experience.
But he can't.
We can't exactly stop him.
He simply can't, because that's what we're planning to do. As soon as we have the money from your work, we're going to open a restaurant and make a fortune. We even have the name, Mina's Meaty Munchables. The market's too crowded as it is. This will be the end of our dreams.
That's a little hysterical, darling. It's only one more restaurant to compete with.
Only one more, he says. A new restaurant with a handsome and debonair owner. A mysterious and intoxicating count, no less. He'll dominate the business. He is dominant, isn't he?
Well, I suppose. But wait, you haven't heard the silly side of this. He's planning on opening a vegan restaurant. Can you imagine anything so frightfully ridiculous?
Vegan? Like the planet?
No, dearest, I think you're thinking of Venus. Vegan means that the food has nothing in it but vegetables. No fish, no meat, no cheese, nothing that comes from animals.
I wish you'd be serious, Jonathan. You can't make a meal without meat or fish. It's impossible. This is some kind of hoax to throw you off the scent. He's probably going to open an avant-garde establishment serving exotic European dishes to peers of the realm. You know how they all stick together.
It's a dash shame, darling, but we'll manage.
He must be stopped. It's that simple.
Stopped? How?
You must stop him, Jonathan. That is the answer.
I? Don't be silly, Mina. What can I do?
Silly, am I? You think our future together is silly? Mother was right about you.
I thought your mother liked me.
I feel one of my turns coming on. Perhaps it's time I went to visit Mother again. I fear it may be an extended stay.
Dash it all, Mina, that's unfair. I've been away working all these weeks and now you run away as soon as I return?
I will not have such language spoken in my house. Mr. Harker, save it for the taverns where you so obviously belong.
And I will not be treated like this, Mina. You're my wife and I am the man of the house.
Stop the count or I'm leaving.
But how? He has every right to set up a business here if he so wishes. There are no legal grounds for stopping him, even if he is eccentric in terms of baggage.
Baggage?
Yes, he's having most of his possessions shipped over in coffins. I had to arrange to have them loaded aboard the Demeter at Varna. She sails in 3 days.
Coffins? How macabre. Wait, so the Demeter still lies in port?
Yes, she sails Thursday on the first tide, all being well.
That's it. You must dispatch a telegram to the captain at once. Inform him that the Count's plans have changed.
Are you mad? Captain Elliot knows full well the Count's plans. He'll hardly accept my word on it.
You will telegram him, Jonathan. Tell him that under no circumstances are they going to bring the Count or his coffins to London, and that for his inconvenience, you will pay him an extra £200.
Why, that's a month's wages for a man like that. Where will you get the money?
Me? You're the head of the house, dear.
But where shall he take the Count?
I care not. Up in the North Country, perhaps. No one cares what goes on in such beastly regions.
What will the Count think? I'm his agent. He'll sue for certain.
Better make it £500 and tell the captain to lose the Count on the way.
That's murder.
That's business, Jonathan. Now go and send that telegram at once. I need to think.
Any chance of a quick...
No, Jonathan.
Inside Jonathan Harker's legal offices, a fine, upstanding air of business exudes from the fine wood paneling. Harker has sat behind a desk, shuffling through a number of papers. Several weeks have passed since the sailing of the Demeter, when Mina enters abruptly.
Ah, there you are, Jonathan. Is there any news?
News? Oh, the Demeter. None. I can't think what may have come of her. It's good to see you, dearest.
Harker puckers his lips for a kiss.
In the office, Jonathan? Don't be vulgar.
But, darling, we haven't shared as much as an embrace for months.
Is it my fault you've suffered from all those personal ailments? We must find out what has happened. Have you no word from Captain Elliot? I told you it was a stupid plan, but you wouldn't listen.
My plan? If I recall, it was you.
There's nothing less attractive about a man who's obtuse, Jonathan.
Now look here, Mina.
The door suddenly swings open and an imposing elderly man walks in, his heels clacking noisily on the floor.
Who the devil are you?
Forgive the intrusion, mein Herr, Fräulein. I am Professor Van Helsing. I come with grave news.
What interest could we have in a stranger's news, especially a foreigner?
You are friends with Lucy Westenra, are you not?
Lucy? What's happened to her?
She is very ill and confined at Dr. Seward's hospice near Whitby.
What do you mean? Lucy is a fine, strong girl.
Isn't she the one you...
Let's not bring that up again, Jonathan. Whitby. That's one of those miserable little northern places, isn't it?
It lies on the Yorkshire coast at the mouth of the River Esk.
That sounds positively frightful. What on earth was Lucy doing there?
She was meeting with potential suitors, I understand, though that has no bearing on this matter.
Wait a minute. What were you doing there?
Dr. Seward he's an old pupil of mine. He consulted with me over several cases puzzling him, including your poor friend.
So what is wrong with Lucy?
Dr. Seward believes she is suffering from an odd form of pernicious anemia, but I know otherwise. This, I think, is something far more sinister.
What? Tell us immediately, doctor, and spare no pains in your descriptions. I am no shrinking violet.
What is this? Why do the violets be shrinking?
Just tell us what happened, Professor.
A few weeks passed. There was a mighty storm off the coast, and deep in the heart of darkness, several villagers spotted a ship in trouble not far from land. It appeared to have no direction to it, and was being tossed in every direction by the winds. From what the villagers could tell, not one living soul was on that ship. In the early hours of the morning, the ship, it hit the rocks and splintered like it was made of matchwood. The local people did what they could to help, but the ship was deserted. Later, a man was washed ashore, along with some large crates. It seemed the man was the captain of the ship, but spoke nothing but gibberish, having apparently lost his mind.
Harker gives Mina a worried glance.
Do you know what ship it was?
One of the villagers found its nameplate floating near the beach. It was Der Demeter. Inquiries showed it was originally bound for London, but must have been driven off course by the storm.
What has this to do with Lucy?
Shortly after the shipwreck, animals and some people went missing. It is around that time that your friend, Miss Westenera, first started to display symptoms that Dr. Seward became alarmed by.
That has nothing to do with us.
Quiet, you English nincompoop! I know everything. You chartered that ship. It was under your orders to transport Count Dracula's belongings here. This is all a matter of indisputable record, Herr Harker. The only matter in which I am unsure is whether you knew the true nature of the man you were aiding, or whether you were merely feeble-minded and deceived by him.
I say, I will not be spoken about in such disgraceful terms. You will leave immediately, sir, or I will be forced to call in the assistance of the local constabulary.
Do be quiet, Jonathan. What about Lucy? You said you disagreed with Dr. Seward. What do you think ails her?
Have you ever heard the word vampire, Fräulein?
I suppose that's one of your foreign words, is it?
In the lands I am from, there are tales, legends you would call them, of creatures that stalk the night, looking for helpless victims. They cannot face the sun. When a victim is located, these creatures prey on them, drinking the victim's blood and draining their life force.
Superstitious nonsense. Don't tell me you believe these ridiculous tales spread by uneducated yobs. You're a man of science, are you not?
There are many things that science does not know, Herr Harker. That does not mean they do not exist.
And you think one of these things attacked Lucy?
I'm certain of it. Count Dracula is one of those night creatures. He comes here not to set up a business, as he told you, but to establish fresh hunting grounds.
The Count? One of these vampire things? Sir, I believe it is you that has been struck by brain fever. Why, I spoke with him many times and dined with him on more than one occasion.
Did you ever see the Count during daylight? Did you ever see him eat? He is a creature of the night, driven to a lustful frenzy, only by blood.
Well, The man likes the quiet of the night. I don't think one can accuse him of anything on that basis.
He shifts several coffins. Did that not strike you in any way strange, Herr Harker?
A little eccentric, perhaps?
What are your plans, Professor? What brings you here?
I believe the Count has left the area of Whitby and will soon make an appearance here in London, where he will spread more of his unholy terror on the citizenry. No one will be safe from him. If he contacts you again, you must telegram me immediately. Only I can stop him.
You? What do you intend to do?
I will destroy him if it is the last thing I do.
Van Helsing leaves.
Well, what do you make of that? The tale would make a stuffed bird laugh. He's as mad as hops.
Of course he is, but he could be useful.
What do you mean?
He could very well take care of our problem for us. Don't you see? He has it in for the Count with his backwards prattle. All we have to do is wait for him to take care of it for us. It's perfect.
We should report him to the authorities.
Nonsense. If you'd done your job right, this would all be over by now. No, Van Helsing will take care of the Count soon enough.
At the Harker residence a week later, it's dark outside and raining as the Harkers start dinner.
What foul weather. Thank heavens I don't have to go out on a night like this.
I wish you would.
What's that, darling?
I said there'd be a lot of mud.
No doubt. Imagine if I'd become a doctor or something like that. I'd be gone all hours and we'd hardly ever see each other.
Oh, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? I mean, wonderful being able to help people like that.
A flash of lightning illuminates the window, followed by a peal of thunder. A few moments later, there's a loud knock on the door. Mina picks up a bell and rings it. Woodward, the manservant, enters.
There's someone at the door, Woodward.
Indeed, milady.
Woodward leaves, returning in a few minutes.
There is a gentleman here. Claims to be an acquaintance.
Did he give a name?
Said he was Mr. Renfield, sir.
Renfield? It can't be.
Tell me it's not another one of your school chums come to pay a visit, Jonathan. You know how tiresome I find them.
It's that damn man of Count Dracula's. What on earth can he be doing here? Woodward, you better show him in, I suppose. Have him wait in the parlor. I'll be there shortly.
Very good, sir.
Woodward leaves.
What can he want with us?
Perhaps he knows. About what we tried to do, I mean.
How could he?
I don't know. How did he or the Count survive the shipwreck?
Get rid of him. We don't want people of his station in the house. What will the neighbors think?
If the neighbors are spying on us tonight, they must be drowning.
Harker moves to the parlor, entering slowly.
Ah, Mr. Renfield, a pleasure to see you again.
A moth flutters past the lamp. Renfield catches it in his hand and swallows it in one swoop, then smacks his lips appreciatively.
Foreign food is always so tempting. Good evening, sir. I trust you are well.
Indeed. What praise brings you to this neck of the woods?
Don't say that word.
Which?
Neck.
Oh, very well. How may I be of assistance?
Well, there is a matter of some unfinished business. My master would very much like to conclude things at your soonest convenience.
Business? Why? I haven't heard from the Count since I was in Transylvania. I rather thought he'd changed his mind.
You don't know the master. Once he sets a goal, he always consummates his affairs.
Well, the premises I initially proposed are no longer available. I would have to locate others that were suitable to his needs. But that is hardly something I can discuss with anyone but the Count himself. You understand?
Of course. The master wasn't sure he would be welcome. You see, we had some small troubles on the journey to England.
Indeed. How unfortunate.
Is he welcome, sir?
You mean here? I'm hardly accustomed to carrying out business in my home, but I will be happy to see him in my office during working hours.
That won't be possible. You know my master's habits. Surely you can make an exception for such a lofty client. After all, it could be said that you owe him a debt.
Well, I suppose. It's dashed awkward, though. But if the Count wants my further services, I can accommodate his eccentricities.
Then he is free to visit?
Goodness, man, do you want it in writing?
A verbal acknowledgement is acceptable, but you must state it with clarity. Since the sea journey, my master has misgivings as to your sincerity after his adventures.
Yes, the Count is welcome to visit me here in my home, damn it.
Lightning flashes and a heavy peal of thunder booms.
Thank you, sir. I will inform my master.
Oh,
What was that?
Sir?
Harker listens for a moment.
I thought I heard my wife cry out.
I heard nothing but the wind, sir.
Very well, I bid you good evening.
Renfield looked at the drinks cabinet on one side significantly.
Surely a toast is in order to cement the renewal of old business acquaintances?
I think not. My wife would be unhappy with such a thing.
Are you not the man of this household? Does she tell you what to do?
My relationship with my wife is not a topic for debate, sir.
Of course. But it's a chilly, damp night out. Surely you'd not deny a man a little fortitude after he has braved the elements to see you.
Oh, very well. What would you like?
A whiskey, perhaps. That would reinforce a fellow stoutly, would it not?
Another boom of thunder sounds.
Better make it a large one.
Harker pours a large glass of whiskey for Renfield and a much smaller one for himself.
Your health, sir.
Yours too. Ah, that's a fine libation, sir. You're a kind and generous man.
Finish it and return to your master.
Yes, sir. But how about a top-up first? Not even touched your own drink.
Why does the Count employ a drunkard such as you?
Our families go back a long way. I see no portraits. You have no offspring of your own?
Not as yet, but I have hopes that day will come soon.
Another flash of lightning and thunder rattle the windows.
oh my.
There, you must have heard that. Mina?
You are imagining things, sir. The storm is most fierce. Come, finish your drink.
Nonsense, that was my wife calling. Mina, darling, what's wrong?
Oh, yes.
Harker crosses to the dining room and tries to open the door, but finds it locked.
Woodward? Woodward? Where are you, man? Come here immediately.
Woodward appears.
What is it, sir?
Why is this door locked?
I have no idea, sir. How can it be?
Woodward tries the door handle with no success.
Where's the key, damn it?
The key? Why, it's inside, sir.
Harker stares at the door for a few seconds, then slams his shoulder into it.
Come on, man, don't just stand there. Help me. Mina?
Harker hits the door again with no effect, followed by Woodward, who puts a little effort into it.
Oh!
Another crash of thunder shakes the house. Then the door springs open. Harker charges in and finds Mina rearranging her clothing.
Are you all right, dearest? I heard you cry out.
What? Oh, yes, I'm very well, thank you. Is something wrong?
Why was the door locked?
A shadow emerges from the hall.
Locked?
Good evening. I hope you don't mind. The door was open. I fear my abysmal manservant must have left it that way when he left.
Count? I didn't expect you so soon.
I had important business to attend to in this area. Why wait?
Dracula looks hungrily at Mina, a lustful fire in his dark eyes.
What a charming woman. Your younger sister, perhaps?
You flatter me, Count.
This is my wife, Count.
Then you are a fortunate man indeed, Mr. Harker.
Dracula crosses to Mina, takes her hand, and kisses it.
Oh, my Jonathan forgot to mention how charming you were, Count.
Now who is flattering who, Mrs. Harker?
Oh, call me Mina, please. I fear the ladies of London are in for a real shock, Count. With your manners and good looks, you could seduce anyone, I'm sure.
Dearest, perhaps you should rest and leave the gentleman to discuss business.
Don't be silly, Jonathan. That would be entirely rude. But I will go and change. Suddenly, I feel rather lightheaded.
What's wrong with your neck, darling? It looks tender.
Oh, I'm sure it's nothing.
Harker leans in close to Mina.
And your petticoat is showing.
What a thing to notice, Jonathan. This is hardly the time or place. Attend the Count, and don't allow him to leave before I return.
Mina rushes out, clutching her chest.
Your visit here is unorthodox, to say the least, Count. How exactly can I help?
My business has not changed, Mr. Harker. Despite the misfortune I suffered on the journey, I still wish to open up my vegan restaurant in the heart of this great metropolis. What suitable properties are available?
I would have to check, Count. The delay in your arrival means many of the ones I'd selected will be no longer available.
How long will it take to put a new list together?
A few days, I should say.
Very well. Perhaps in the meantime, you will allow your charming wife to act as my guide and show me the sights?
Absolutely not. There are limits to hospitality, sir. Besides, my wife is a very homely creature.
Mina returns in a very colorful dress.
I heard that, Jonathan. Women aren't chattels, you know. This is the 19th century, after all.
But, Mina, you can't. What will people think?
We can't simply abandon a newcomer to our country asking for help. It's hardly the British spirit, is it?
I have to say, Count, I've heard some extremely worrying things about you.
What things?
You're not going to bring up that, are you, Jonathan?
Oh, you do remember then? It's been said that you are a creature of the night, a vampire who sucks the blood and the souls from men and women.
This is ridiculous, Jonathan. I forbid you to talk like this in front of our guest.
Oh, I see. I'm a night crawler, a satanic beast, one of the undead. I've heard them all. But I assure you, Mr. Harker, I focus my affairs entirely on the fairer sex.
I believe the Count is something of a gal sneaker, Jonathan.
You've been talking to that wooden spoon, Van Helsing, and his hysterical tales of me. Did it not occur to you that he may have his own reasons to repeat that mendacious burbles of superstitious peasants?
You cannot go out during the day because you would turn to dust in the sun's pure light.
I have an affliction of the eyes that makes daylight extremely difficult to bear.
You have no shadow.
True. As I shelter during the daylight, it is indeed hard to see my shadow.
You have no reflection and got excited when I cut my finger.
I was concerned for the health of my guest.
And the coffins?
Excuse me?
Ha ha ha! The coffins you had transported here from Transylvania. Why would any ordinary man send coffins to a country where he was planning on starting a restaurant? You are a vampire.
Tell me you have heard of customs duty, Mr. Harker.
Yes?
Dead relatives pay no such duty. A ruse, so that I could move my fortune and some of my rarer possessions here without being ruined in the process.
A ruse?
This is the real truth about Professor Abraham Van Helsing. His family and mine have been linked for many centuries. 300 years ago, a great famine swept my country. My great-great-great-grandfather, then Count, tried to save as many of the people as he could from deprivation. Eventually, however, the coffers ran dry, and there was no more money to import much-needed food. My antecedent refused to let this be the end-all, and in a moment of, I imagine, desperation would be the right word, he mortgaged the castle and all of its contents to a group of cutthroat bankers who were buying up everything, stripping desperate people from their homes in their greed. A bank was Scratchet, Ratchet, Patchet, and Van Helsing.
Van Helsing?
Over the intervening centuries, the other families have faded away. And now the Van Helsing remains as the sole creditor. This has hung over my family for centuries. I tried to negotiate, but he would not have none of it, and I was forced to seek a better life elsewhere. It was my hope that if I was successful, I would return in triumph and liberate my ancestral home from this fiduciary penance.
But
this is why Van Helsing pursues me, why he besmirches my character and spreads these lies, and why he slanders me at every opportunity. His family has grown rich through years of merciless financial battery. Ask the poor of Transylvania, I beg you. He is the bloodsucker, not I.
I had no idea. But how can I...
How can you believe me when you only have my word against his? Surely it is obvious. If I really were such a monster as he describes, would I really be starting a restaurant whose food is built on the very principle of preventing cruelty to any animal?
That does seem a little odd.
You're a fool, Jonathan. I said you shouldn't believe that old man.
Mina!
Enough. This talk is tiresome, and it is not a suitable topic for conversation in the presence of such a beautiful and sensitive lady. I brought you a gift, hoping we could use it to seal our partnership once more.
Dracula produces a bottle of wine from under his cloak.
This is a 300-year-old Transylvanian Sange de Liliacy, direct from my own personal stock.
Oh, we couldn't count. Mina is terribly sensitive to intoxicants.
Pooh! Don't be such a stuffed shirt, Jonathan. I'll get the glasses.
Mina leaves, returning quickly with 3 glasses. Then Dracula fills them with wine.
to a new business venture and a long and deep friendship.
Jonathan and Mina raise their own glasses and drink. Harker then does the same.
What a strange name. What does it mean?
Oh, it is a fanciful title taken from the deep color of the wine and of no consequence.
Come, Count. There's no need to be secretive about it.
In English, it would translate as bat's blood.
What about your veganism thingy?
Oh, Jonathan, you're so hopeless.
Harker collapses. 2 weeks later, on the desolate streets of London, near Brompton Cemetery, ominous gray clouds fill the sky, and the light is dimming even though it's an hour before sunset. Professor Van Helsing is driving through the streets, heading for a fateful meeting.
Driver, stop immediately! By that man there!
Van Helsing clambers out of the carriage and rushes towards a bedraggled man on the pavement.
Mein Gott, Herr Harker.
What?
Is that really you?
What, Professor? Is this some kind of wretched dream?
Your clothes, your face. I barely recognize you. What has happened?
Dracula. He visited us, Professor. He said he wanted to continue his plans to start a damn restaurant. I'm not sure what happened then. He bewitched us. Then he took Mina away with him. I've been on the streets ever since trying to find them.
He spirited your wife away? This is very serious. But why are you here?
The cemetery. If what you told us was true, I felt he'd probably hide out in one. I visited every last one in London, but found no sign of him. Oh, you must help me, Professor. For God's sakes, help me get my wife back.
It may for that too late be. But I will try. But first, let's get you cleaned up, Ja. Then we can perhaps do something more purposeful than wandering the streets like some of your, what do you call them? Urchins.
Do you know where Dracula is? For God's sakes, man, tell me if you do.
Of course I do. I have been on his trail the whole time. I am a professor after all, am I not?
Harker shakes Van Helsing by the collar.
Where? Where is he? By all that's holy, tell me where they are.
Very well, but you will not like it. They are in fact not far from here. The Count has opened his demonic restaurant in Pimlico, just off Belgrave Road. They call it the Moonlight Bites.
They?
I believe your wife, Mina, also is involved with its running.
Is it too late then?
Too late? 9! If we can break Dracula's spell over her, you may still recover your wife. Assuming you still want her.
Why wouldn't I?
Well, you know. Never mind. We will go and confront him. I was on my way when I spotted you, and I am fully prepared.
Van Helsing pulls a wooden stake and hammer from under his topcoat. Then he guides Harker to the coach and are soon at the Moonlight Bites restaurant, where the doorman eyes Harker's shabby clothing.
Sorry, gents. We're full, I'm afraid.
Harker peers through the windows.
Nonsense, I see plenty of empty tables.
They're reserved for special. Now, if you gents would care to move along, there'll be no trouble.
Come, Harker. We will try another establishment.
But I have an invitation.
You do? Show me.
Gladly. We're the guests of Messrs. Webley and Scott.
Harker reaches inside his jacket, pulls out a pistol, and aims it at the doorman.
Ah, yes, I see. You're very welcome, gents.
Harker and Van Helsing push past the doorman into the restaurant and meet the maitre d'.
How delightfully unexpected. I'm sure you gentlemen will fail to appreciate the food served here.
Harker points his gun at Renfield.
Never mind that. Where is my wife?
Stay calm, Harker. This is not the Wild West.
Your wife? Is she the blonde who resembles a bloated cow?
You know who she is, you miserable insect eater. Tell me where she is or I'll blow your brains out.
You must remain calm, Harker, and let me take care of this.
Harker pulls back the hammer on the pistol.
I'll give you to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
They're in the private dining room at the back.
They?
Renfield nods and Harker waves his gun.
Come, Professor.
You don't understand. Your bullets mean nothing to Dracula. Only a steak can kill him.
I'm not planning on buying him dinner.
No, you doomcough, a steak! Through the heart!
Harker rushes through the restaurant and charges into the private dining room. Dracula and Mina are sitting at the table. Dracula is holding Mina's hand in his.
What is the meaning of this? Oh, it is you, Mr. Harker. Ah, and the trusty professor, too. An unexpected pleasure. Do join us, won't you?
Mina, come here quickly. He can't stop you.
Harker points the gun at Dracula.
Now, why would I do that, Jonathan? The Count has opened my eyes. I can tell you. Believe me when I tell you, it was love at first bite.
I don't care about his filthy practices. You're my wife, Mina, and I'm here to take you home, even if I have to kill Count Dracula to do it.
I would rather you didn't do that, Mr. Harker. I'm sure we can solve this little domestic dispute without the need for bloodshed.
Oh, you're so quick to seduce other men's wives, aren't you, Count? But not so happy when someone stands up to you and your life is on the line, eh?
Harker, mein Freund, this is futile madness. Let me...
Quiet, Professor. Everyone obviously thinks I'm stupid, but I'm not. I can tell a half-hour gentleman when I see one, just as I can tell this vegan chump is nonsense. Look at the food on their plates.
What do you think you see, Mr. Harker?
You obviously sell your vegan tripe to the customers while you happily tuck into meat here in private. That's chicken on your plate for sure. I'm going to destroy you and your reputation.
That is mushroom, Jonathan. Taste it if you don't believe me.
Never mind the food. Look at their glasses, Harker. That's not wine. It's blood.
You're both incredibly foolish. It is beet juice, expertly squeezed and seasoned with a touch of rare spices and herbs.
Prove it.
Renfield.
Renfield appears looking scared.
Yes, master.
Fetch a glass for Mr. Harker.
Renfield fetches another glass and puts it on the table. Dracula fills it from the decanter he and Mina are using.
There, taste it, Harker.
Don't do it, mein Freund. It is blood. If you taste it, you will be in his power and helpless.
Shut up, you old fool.
Harker picks up the glass and drinks tentatively. A few seconds later, he screws up his face in a grimace.
I told you, blood.
No. It's beet juice.
As I told you, Mr. Harker, I am no monster.
Harker looks from Dracula to Mina and back.
But Mina, you seduced her with your hypnotic powers.
Dracula and Mina start laughing.
My apologies, Mr. Harker. I did not seduce your wife. The truth is, she seduced me.
You really are such a poop, Jonathan. All these years I've been with you. All those afflictions of yours? You never once had what it takes to show me what a real man was like. The Count is everything you're not. I couldn't wait to leave with him.
But
I am truly sorry, Mr. Harker. The truth is an often hard mistress to face. Oh, perhaps I should have used a different word than mistress.
Oh, Drac, you're so funny. Now run along, Jonathan. Let's finish eating. We have a restaurant to run, and we don't need a niminy-piminy spoiling things.
You do not deserve such ignominy, Herr Harker. Leave now, and let me take care of this. You will not regret it, I assure you.
Van Helsing pulls out his hammer and stake and holds them up. Before he can move, 3 shots ring out and Dracula clutches his chest.
die, you wife-stealing bastard! Die!
No, Jonathan!
Dracula slumps back and everyone looks at him. Then Renfield runs back and stares at the Count.
Master? It can't be.
Yes, your damn master is dead, and I did it. So much for monsters and demons, Professor. I told you it was superstitious nonsense. Count Dracula is...
Doing very well, thank you.
Dracula coughs several times and spits out a bullet onto the side plate.
I told you! He is a monster!
Van Helsing lifts his stake and hammer.
Oh, to hell with this.
Dracula bares his teeth, his fangs growing larger as he snarls. Then the room is filled with screams.
That's it. That's the end. Thank you all so much. That was absolutely fabulous. You were all awesome. Thanks for all the effort you put in.
Everybody
Thanks,
was
everyone.
fantastic.
That was wonderful.
That was fun. It was good. I love this story.
It's cute.
And that was an authentic German accent. Just so you
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it.
I hope you don't scream at me again, David.
Hillary says, fantastic. Great performances, accents, and writing. Thank you so much, Hillary. We have Amber who said they're fun and fabulous. Oh, maybe I should go back and read some of these in order. Let's see. JD stopped in. We had Amber. Let's see.
Anita.
Anita. Yes, Anita was here.
Transfer. I think that was when you disappeared at one point.
Yeah. And then my husband made an appearance, and I'm like, get away!
That's not the time.
You didn't get the hand gestures.
That should be enough.
Yes.
He said these are pro lineup. These accents are his top shelf. Thank you.
Yes.
You were really channeling your inner Bella Lugosi there.
Yeah.
I studied him a bit.
Just a tad.
And if David looked any sharper, he'd also cut. Really nice.
Oh,
That is great.
that was just so much fun. Thank you,
That was fun.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting me.
I'm finally
a great
glad I
one.
could make it.
Yeah. We've been trying to get Jane for like weeks. Finally worked out.
Oh dear,
boy.
that was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Really
everybody.
appreciate all of you. And you all put in so much effort, every single one of you. And that was
Mm.
it's so much more fun.
I tried
That
to.
was brilliant.
Right.
I love it.
I have the blood everywhere.
It looks so good though.
The shadow, you know, I was thinking, oh, I gotta like really.
Oh dear. Do we want to say anything about next month, Christie?
Oh, next month. Oh, yes. Next month we are going to be doing Jekyll and Hyde, right?
Mm.
Yes.
Yes.
And let's see. I think we decided since this month we did it a little bit later so that we could get closer to Halloween. We decided we were going to do it a little bit later next month too. I think we decided on the 21st. Am I right? Pretty sure.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Thursday, November 21st. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Jekyll and Hyde. It is the author's birthday. My mind is blanking on what his name is. Oh, Amber, thank you so much. And thank you, Anita. So glad you all enjoyed it.
Yeah. So before we go, just like to say, Chrissy and myself believe that all books are classics. So if you'd like to have us read an excerpt from one of your own books, or just join us as a guest, please feel free to contact either one of us through social media or whatever. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who has joined us for another episode of Fun Classic Reads, both in the chat and obviously special thanks to our wonderful guest, Jody Swannell. Swannell?
Now,
Swannell. J.E. Taylor, Kathleen Palm, and David North-Martino.
Thank you.
Until next time, stay safe and be nice.
thank
Good
you.
night.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.